Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Um, Appreciate all the new subscribers lately. Really making this push to 1,000, and appreciate a lot of the new support and whatnot. Appreciate all the engagement, comments and likes, so on and so forth. Please take a second to do that. If you do appreciate, like, respect, or enjoy, you know, any of the way that anything is presented on the show, whether it's on the channel, whether it's a movie, new video. Hopefully you saw that Black Thought versus Everybody video that's out there. I think it's almost 8 minutes long. Um, but movies, TV episodes, album reviews, some boxing here and there, and some other sports topics here and there. I'm getting ready to talk about this Fatal Affair picture, a movie that's on Netflix. Was started to be available to be streamed coming into this weekend. It might have been Thursday night, but it's on there now, definitely. And I've seen it get kind of trashed a little bit. And I could borrow a little saying from the red, what is it, Plastic Cup Boys on Kevin Hart's his podcast. And my wife pointed this out to me, that some people were complaining about some some of the details of the movie. I heard that it was terrible from a lot of people, but for anybody that complained or has strong statements against Fatal Affair, but never said or questioned anything about Power, those people specifically, feel free to kill yourself. So with that said, let me get into my review. So setting it up, Fatal Affair is the name of the movie. The director. It was directed by, the screenplay was written by Peter Sullivan. A little interesting note there coming in just a second. It's an hour and 29 minutes in runtime. A drama slash thriller, and it stars Nia Long, Omar Epps, and Stephen Bishop. I think one dope thing right off the rip is that Nia Long actually got a producer credit for this project. One article I read, it said that she was an executive producer. So that's pretty dope to see her transitioning to taking more ownership or responsibility in the projects that she's involved with, and not just being in front of the camera. So I think that was pretty dope. Like I mentioned, this Peter Sullivan cat wrote the screenplay, but but from what I read, once Netflix picked this movie up, and then once Nia Long was attached to it, they brought in this sister named Rashida Garner, who revamped the script at the request of Nia Long, because it was written for a white cast. So I would be interested to know what Peter Sullivan thought when you write your movie, and then you're a director, and then by the time you go to get to set and go to shoot, you don't have it's a different movie than what you started out with. That's kind of interesting to me. 4.5 is the score on IMDb. It's not that great. 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if that's like an average of the critics and the everyday people. Both of them score it, but it's 18%. That's horrible. And then a bit of a promising thing, Google users was at 67%. Like I said, my wife put me on to the fact that a lot of people thought the movie were trashing the movie. Honestly, I didn't hate it. If I had to give it out of 5, I'd probably say 3. Maybe even a 3.2. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going by. If I get into the first 10 or 15, maybe even 20 minutes into a movie, and I start to hate myself for watching the movie, that's a terrible movie. And or you just start noticing that the quality isn't there. That John Henry joint with Terry Crews and Ludacris a month or so ago. 7 to 8 minutes into that one, I was feeling uncomfortable about how my next hour and a half of time was going to be spent or respected or disrespected. I was harsh on that one. It wasn't, honestly, it wasn't as horrible as I made it out to be on a offhand comment that I made about it. I didn't even do a review on it, but it was a little better than what I gave it. I did go back and watch all of it, and it was what it was. So immediately going into this thing, the one thing that I would hold against it is the fact that they put fatal in the title, knowing that this is a very common story. Whether it's Fatal Attraction, one of the first ones to start it, The Perfect Guy, even that house, the one with Dennis Quaid and Michael Ealy, who Ealy was in The Perfect Guy, I think was the name of that one. There's tons of these. Obsession, I believe, with Beyonce and damn, my man from England, Stringer Bell, Idris Elba. I'm probably forgetting another 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 more. And then this is really common when it comes to films, urban entertainment, or urban movies, urban films, black movies. It seems like one of the, if you don't want to do drugs and killing, or you're not throwing a family reunion or a holiday, this seems like this is one of the common tropes that you can get greenlit to make the movie is for this, and then throw somebody like a Beyonce in there to get it over the hump. But anyway, this reunited Omar Epps and Nia Long, who hadn't done anything since like 1990, and In Too Deep, which was shot in Cincinnati. I'm here in Dayton, Ohio. But getting into this movie very quickly, man. I mean, Nia Long is married to this Stephen Bishop cat. He's coming out of a little funk with the injury that he had. I think he bike riding or something, trail riding or something. Ruined his shoulder. He's an architect. She's a lawyer, a successful lawyer. And then Omar Epps comes to the firm that Nia Long is at, and they bring him aboard to be like a forensic, hack into stuff and get emails and data files that they can use in their cases. And then it comes out that Nia Long was unaware that he was coming into the firm. They get introduced, but they already know each other. And then they decide to go and have drinks. She invites Omar Epps to come out, even though it was a girls' night, with her co-worker Courtney. Courtney gets stuck at work, and it ends up being a date between Omar Epps or David and Emily, I believe is Nia Long's name. They didn't bother changing her name when they revamped the script, did they? Emily. Anyway, they go and have some wine. Then they head out to a nightclub, dance a little bit, have some hard liquor, some shots, and they dance. Very passionate dance and whatnot. She leaves. It's getting a little too hot for her. Goes to the bathroom. And then David follows her in there eventually and puts her up on the sink or the counter, and they're getting ready to go at it. And then she stops and says she can't do it. She started this because earlier in the night, earlier when they were drinking wine at like a restaurant that they were that they started at, she told her this thing about you turn around after 20-some years and you feel like you're going to bed with a stranger. So that kind of created the opening for David to pursue this further. Anyway, you know how it goes. She shuts him down, and he does not like that. And then he starts doing some different things to work himself into her life. He's kind of coming at her a bit weird, a bit oddly, talking about we can make this thing work. And she clearly shuts it down and says, I'm married. He shows up with the girlfriend that it was supposed to be the girls' night out. He actually shows up with her at a dinner for them. I mean, a dinner that Nia Long and Stephen Bishop hosted their house that's on the beach. And they play it off. You know, Stephen Bishop doesn't know. And things kind of go south from there because now Nia Long wants to punch back and ask you, and they meet afterwards. And she really sets him straight. But this really kind of is the tipping point to where it makes him kind of, he has some anger issues that you learn about and was seeing a therapist for this coming out of his marriage to his former wife, Deborah. Now, I forgot, they opened up with the scene with Deborah being killed, Deborah and her new lover being killed at her house. And Deborah and the lover, both were killed, I guess. But it was never a solved crime. So from there, like I said, it spirals out of control to where Omar Epps, or David, of course, he attacks the family. I knew that the Scotty kid, the boyfriend or male friend of their daughter, Brittany, Nia Long's daughter, you knew that Scotty wasn't going to make it. But you know, in the final scene, Omar Epps comes to the house and they get into a tussle. It's a home invasion. I think that other movie with Mark Wahlberg was called Fear. That was not another similar thing where he turned into a different guy once him and the daughter broke up. Kind of that same thing. But he gets into the house, they tussle around. Stephen Bishop isn't much of a man of the house in terms of defending the house. He gets dealt with a couple of times. And then, you know, when you get to these independent movies and whatnot, I think the stunts are always going to be less than underwhelming, you know, the stunts. And I think the final scene when they finally get rid of David and the fighting and running along the beach and all of this different stuff, who knows who's on set to choreograph the fighting and whatnot. So that was a weakness of the movie. And then that's another weakness of this type of story anyway, is they spend so much time making this man or this woman, they spend so much time building them up and how impressive they are. Usually it's someone that's very attractive. The connection here between David and Emily was that they went to Stanford, I believe, and knew each other at Stanford. He had a crush on her the entire time, but they never dated in college. And then, you know, she marries Warren. That's Marcus. She marries Marcus, but throughout the years, his wife Deborah looked like Nia Long or Emily. But and that's the thing. Like I said, with the pacing of these, it's always like the last 15 minutes is where this character completely, you know, becomes unglued or unhinged. And then they just got to wrap the movie up. I don't know. In this one, he kills this homeless man to throw the cops off. So it was kind of interesting with him being a hacker and being as intelligent as he was. I'm talking to my dog. When he did this, kills himself or kills the homeless man to make it appear like he himself died in some kind of car fire or something. How was he then going to come back into the life of, how was he going to get Marcus out of the way and have this life with Emily when he made himself appear to be dead? I don't know how he was going to come back from that. So there were some things that bothered me about the movie. Like I said, it's not great. It's not going to be nominated for anything, but it wasn't horrible. It held my time. I liked the fact that some of the family stuff that I saw, the family angle, how they handled that. she ended up telling Marcus. Emily ended up telling Marcus that about the bathroom and the date and whatnot. People can say that my wife made the comment as we're watching it that no man would sit there and take that the way that Marcus took it. But we just saw this with Jada and Will. Now they had their details with the August Alsina, whatever, whatever. Maybe it's not that realistic, but the guy was a bit understanding that their relationship had really flamed out, and due to years of that, this created this situation where she was open briefly, to she made a bad decision, and so on and so forth. So that's how they handled it. But they had, like I said, they had a daughter. The daughter was going to college, and then they after the date, Marcus and Emily spent some time rekindling their relationship and getting back on good standing, and or in good standing. And so, like I said, I feel that a lot of people might have hated it because it wasn't hood enough, it wasn't ghetto enough, and frankly, everything just doesn't need to be that way for me. And so I was cool with a lot of the themes in it, and that's part of what Nia Long mentioned about. She was adamant about she wanted certain things to be on a certain level for the way that character was portrayed or depicted. And I can't be mad at her for taking a stance and saying I want these things in there. I want her to have a career. I want her to go off and start her own firm and everything. So I think audiences, black audiences, I think young black kids in high school and whatnot, wasn't a lot of nudity, anything raunchy and whatnot. I think it's okay for black audiences to see these other the story told in different ways versus everything that we get, in a power and empire and all of these things. It's okay to do it differently. So anyway, that's it, man. I probably made this about 7 minutes too long. I apologize. But like I said, man, I didn't hate the movie. Nia Long says that she thinks she looks forward to working with Netflix again. And it was good, she said it was important for her to work with Omar Epps because all of the TV work that he'd done lately, being on House. It was another show out there that I think he only got like a season or two in that. I can't remember the name of that one, but Epps has been out there. I like Epps. So that's it, man. My name is Wood. Feel like sharing anything, chopping it up about the movie, I'd be grateful to share some thoughts with you. Like always in this thing, man, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Have a great week. Peace.